Good evening, friends. How are you doing? I hope you must all be celebrating Christmas and singing Christmas carols, and she'll be going around the mountains and so many other songs, including Jingle Bells, Jingle Bells. So, I love to celebrate anything with books, and today, the book of my choice, as you can see, is Tamam Shud. Tamam Shud is written by Kshitij Mohan, late Shri Kshitij Mohan, uh, who was the ex-husband of my dear friend Meenakshi Mohan. And when I met her, I could understand their camaraderie, their bonding, their love for each other. And I could also understand that late Shri Kshitij Mohan was a wonderful scientist, but he was an equally wonderful poet. So this Tamam Shud is a collection of poems in English and Hindi, and it was presented to me with a lovely bookmark by my dear friend Meenakshi. And I would like to read a verse written by her before I read the three poems chosen by me. As the yellow and orange of the ascending sun peek through the pinnacles of the Himalayas, my children, Vivek and Kavita, my grandson Anant, and I gathered on the banks of the Ganges to perform the last rites for my husband Kshitij Mohan. It was a rainy morning. The Ganges flowed with full force, piercing the hearts of the mountains. Seraph like clouds hovered overhead and watched with misty eyes the religious performance of the old priest. The only thing that broke the serenity of the occasion was the sound of the rain and the chanting of shlokas. The transience of life stood naked before our eyes as we dispersed Kshitij's ashes in the Ganges. Kshitij wrote in his poem अलास्का की सालमन, हर जीवन पथ का अंत वहीं, जन्म जहां वो पाता है. हर जीवन पथ का अंत वहीं, जन्म जहां वो पाता है. जिस शून्य से हम आते हैं उसमें ही खो जाता है. जिस शून्य से हम आते हैं उसमें ही वो खो जाते हैं. Similarly, Thrushtij lived most of his life in America. His ashes traveled through the holy water of the Ganges, passing through Patna, the city where he spent most of his youth and where we were married, then Gaya, his ancestral home, and finally merging with the Bay of Bengal. Kshitij wrote, जिस हिम कानों से आई थी थक लौट वहीं जा पाती है. हिम पुष्पों की सज्जा पर चिर निद्रा में सो जाती है. Such deep thoughts, isn't it? Why is the title chosen as Tamam Shud? It's interesting, and it is the name of one of his poems, which was published in 1969. More about it in the well researched note on his poems, and a wife researching on her husband's poems is something very interesting, because it brings forth many more deep thoughts that he must be going through. So, friends, here I am to render three poems today. The first poem that I've chosen is titled Beyond Sound, Beyond Song. A lovely title. Here goes the poem. So often a word unsaid to the roots and its seed runs blue as the dark humor of the vein to the limbs of the trees in the lungs. So often, when molten from the hunchback eye, it flows on the streets, no prisms appear, and the fish eyed chimes of the bells lie frozen in the writhing flethagons of day yet untouched as the first night streaked with stone, and when universes string to a grain of sand, so often it is the word unsaid. The stone, its ripple, this spiral dance through echo cones, each tunneled thought appears apexed at the scent dreamt sound unheard. The million birds before speech, before song, cluster limbless, two horned at dawn, mute. For the missing sperm was the word that was left unsaid, and mushrooms grow in each cell, their kingdoms come. So often, a word unsaid is the Om that cleans and blesses. So often, a word unsaid is the Om that cleans and blesses. You know what I liked about this poem are these ending two lines. So often, a word unsaid is the Om that cleans and blesses. You know, I kept thinking about these two lines for long. It took me at least half an hour to completely grasp its meaning. Thank you, Kshitij, for writing such wonderful poems. Wish I was there to meet you and discuss poetry. It was a pleasure to be hosted by Minakshi when I went to DC. So, the next poem. The next poem that I've chosen is titled The Party. It was all as was before, and in the night that came, as many nights had come and gone, no sound was heard of the falling dusk, for light and sound are separate entities and mute to each other. For light and sound are separate entities and mute to each other, even to time that bears them and watches with wan eyes their infant caper in the changing ragas of bird song. Time that moves unaware in its hyperbolic comet trails, and yet fireflies flicker brighter than some distant star that bursts in its burning. Knowledge of the heavens is futile to a planet's ending. Futile as the space that separates it, crushes and mingles its ash with the river's blood. Futile as a sand grain on a hungry ocean's flesh, for absence is nirvana, and a moment's consummation is recurrent in eternity. And if eternity be recurrence, then eternity is predictable. Very interesting lines. I'll read it again. For absence is nirvana, and a moment's consummation is recurrent in eternity. And if eternity be recurrence, then eternity is predictable. Who dares to touch its hem shall fuse in its mercurious whirlpool. Who shall kiss will ache, for ribs cannot hold the knowledge. For ribs cannot hold the knowledge, and if I say that I have found it, and if I say that I have found it, I shall mean that I am lost to myself, even to you, who gave it birth and nurtured till its flowers spread their poison in the pale moonlight of our living. Such a beautiful poem. Such a beautiful poem. This poem kept resonating with me for long. Hope you all also liked it. Comments would be welcome. However, now I move on to a Hindi poem, ताजमहल. सबको कितना पसंद है. मेरे ख्याल से हर टूरिस्ट वहां जाता है तो ताजमहल के साथ तरह तरह से पोज करते हुए फोटो खींचता है. कभी उसको ऐसे पकड़ता है, कभी उसको ऐसे ले लेता है. पर एक कवि को ताज में क्या दिखता है, सुनते हैं क्षितिज मोहन जी की कलम से, जिनकी पुस्तक को मैं यहाँ प्रस्तुत कर रही हूँ आज आप सबके सामने. 3 कविताएं इसमें से वाच रही हूँ. 2 इंग्लिश की मैंने अभी पढ़ी थी और ये है हिंदी की एक छोटी सी पर एक महत्वपूर्ण कविता. फूलों की पंखुड़ियों को क्या कहिए, धीरे धीरे यादें बिछड़ जाती हैं, उनके जाने का क्यों गिला करिए, गुबार ए वक्त में मुरादें भी खो जाती हैं. फूलों की पंखुड़ियों को क्या कहिए, धीरे धीरे यादें बिछड़ जाती हैं, उनके जाने का क्यों गिला करिए, गुबारे वक्त में मुरादें भी खो जाती हैं. आसमां के अशकों में वो तासीर कहाँ, टूटे पत्ते के चेहरे पे जो रंग लाते, खिजाओं के हक में वो तकदीर कहाँ, बोसाए चमन उनके नसीब आते. आसमां के अशकों में वो तासीर कहाँ, टूटे पत्ते के चेहरे पे जो रंग लाते, खिजाओं के हक में वो तकदीर कहाँ, बोसाए चमन उनके नसीब आते. मकबरे मोहब्बत इस ताज का क्या कहिए, पत्थरों से लिखे इजहार का क्या कहिए, टूटे अल्फाज में दफन ख्वाहिश की तरह, उम्र हमारी भी तो किसी तरह गुजर जाती है. मकबरे मोहब्बत इस ताज का क्या कहिए, पत्थरों से लिखे इजहार का क्या कहिए, टूटे अल्फाज में दफन ख्वाहिश की तरह, उम्र हमारी भी तो किसी तरह गुजर जाती है. तो ये थी क्षितिज मोहन जी की तीसरी कविता और बहुत खूबसूरत कमांड है क्षितिज जी का तीनों लैंग्वेज पे, इंग्लिश, हिंदी और उर्दू, क्योंकि इतनी खूबसूरती से उन्होंने उर्दू लफ्ज इस नज्म में डाले हैं कि मैं उनकी कायल हो गई और बहुत खुशी हुई इस पुस्तक को पढ़कर. और जो है इसको अगर आप भी पढ़ना चाहते हैं तो इसकी लिंक जो है शेयर कर देंगे हम लोग कमेंट में. मीनाक्षी जी से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि इसकी लिंक को शेयर कर दें और जो है आप लोग भी इसका लुत्फ उठाएं जिस तरह मैंने उठाया. और फिर मिलते हैं शीघ्र ही किसी और पुस्तक के साथ. तब तक के लिए खुदा हाफिज.